Just drive. I wanna be the only one to make it to the line. I'll take it to the edge where I live 1,000 lives. But maybe I could be the one right into the setting sun tonight. Just drive.
There's something in the Bahrain air tonight, and I'm not just talking about the sand. Our brightest minds have thrust their brightest ideas into the spotlight of the Sakhir circuit this evening as we look ahead once more to a Grand Prix that has thrilled us so consistently in the past. Formula One returns to the desert today on this exceptional 3.36-mile circuit. 15 corners provide plenty of overtaking opportunities, and 2 DRS zones will help with that as well. It could be a strategic race, this one, with Sakhir notorious for eating up the rear tyres. Watch out for drivers managing their rubber at some point during the Grand Prix. Bahrain has showed us many times in the past, though, Anthony Davidson, that a good strategy will only take you so far. Beyond that, you need good racecraft and you need good consistency.
And a little bit of luck too, I'd say. This is one of those circuits where the safety car always seems to come out just at the right time to condense the field together and mix up the cars on different strategies. It's hard on brakes, it's tough on fuel, and the main overtaking opportunity is down into turn 1, where it's easy to outbrake your opponent and potentially have a bit of argy-bargy as well.
You qualified lower than we expected. See if you can make up some places off the start.
So before the off, let's remind ourselves of yesterday's qualifying session with a look at the starting grid. Nico Rosberg will start his silver arrow from pole position, and it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Raikkonen, Vettel, Daniel Ricciardo, and Kvyat, Sainz, Bottas, Grosjean, and Fernando Alonso, Verstappen, Perez, Nico Hülkenberg, and Massa, Nasser, Gutierrez, and McLaren, and Jolyon Palmer, Magnussen, and Ericsson, Pascal Wehrlein, and Rio Haryanto completes the grid. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Brett Keenan here from TK Broadcasting, bringing you the Bahrain Grand Prix. So we're starting from P17. Very disappointing qualifying for us here at the Bahrain Grand Prix. We're on the soft tyres. We're now just waiting for the 5 red lights. It's lights out and away we go for the Bahrain Grand Prix, and we get off to a very good start actually. We managed to get alongside Esteban Gutierrez and head towards turn 1. Now here's where things got interesting. I got on the brakes, had to swerve to avoid everyone, hit the 50k board, and we push our way around the outside of most of the team, the field, and we actually managed to get ourselves up to position 8. So a really interesting first corner, I would say. And then we just shove ourselves up the inside of Carlos Sainz, getting into the back of Danny Kvyat, who's currently in a deadlock battle with Sebastian Vettel. The guy that, well, we're not actually going to be taking Sebastian's seat when we go to Ferrari. We're going to try and take Kimi's seat. So we dive up the inside of Danny Kvyat and we'll take P6 from him. So a very good start to go from P17 to P6 in the matter of a few corners. So that was very interesting first corner. I really couldn't believe how much ground I made up, and I thought I would get a penalty or at least an illegal overtake for that. So very surprised to be able to be contending now with the four-time world champion of Sebastian Vettel. So we also were on the soft tyre too, so that was even more interesting, that the pace in the soft tyre seemed to be just as good as those guys on the super soft. So, but then again, they used the tyres for the qualifying, whereas we've got a fresh set of softs, so their pace would be a little underlined as a result. So we've clearly gapped Danny Kvyat in the Toro Rosso, but more, more surprising to see the Toro Rossos up in the front of the field, considering that they're using 2015 spec Ferrari engines. So Rosberg leading the way from Hamilton, Raikkonen, Ricciardo, Vettel, and then ourselves. Kvyat behind. Now we have a dive up the inside of Vettel. We thought a bit about it. Vettel actually ended up giving us the space, and we're now up to P5. So a lot of speculation going around about the way the cars are driving, but you know what, we were quite happy with it. But here, as you can see, end of start of lap 3, Sebastian gets back up the inside of us. Ricciardo's having a look up the inside of Raikkonen. So there's battles going on. We give Vettel a little bit of a love tap saying, hello, we're still here, we're still fighting for position. And then I decide, well, he's not getting away from me, so I'll stick it up the inside again. Raikkonen looks like he fights back against Ricciardo and gets third back. So Vettel lost a bit of ground in the process of doing that, so I felt a bit bad, but I suppose the AI still have a few bugs in them in a small sense. But we're up to P5, chasing down Ricciardo and Raikkonen. So we're doing really well for ourselves in lap 3 of 14. Now, this was a bit that really scared me. I got into the DRS range of Ricciardo. He was in the DRS of Raikkonen. Vettel was still a little bit back. Now, watch this. So, as I thinking about a move, Ricciardo really brakes early, and we almost spear into the back of him. But we ultimately end up getting the move done on Ricciardo. We're chasing down Raikkonen. And you can clearly see that Hamilton and Rosberg are I wouldn't say miles ahead, but they are pulling away from us. So that was a huge contrast of play here. We've got Raikkonen in front of us, we've got Ricciardo behind us. Vettel's starting to catch up to the back of us again, and we are now chasing down a podium position. So with 10 laps to go, we're not thinking too much about it. We're now on the back of Raikkonen at the end of lap 4 to the start of lap 5. We get him in the DRS. The DRS is very powerful here at Bahrain, and of course with the 1-1 wings we've got more drag. So we get up the inside of Raikkonen, get the job done. We're in position 3. There's Hamilton and Rosberg up the road there, and you can see that even with the overtake done, Raikkonen is still behind us. So we knew that we can get overtakes done, but we won't be able to pull away from them because we know that the McLaren Honda's pace, even with the engine upgrade that we got, will still not be able to do much about it. Now, I can't remember what happened here, but I got loose on the rear, went off the track, and then lost all the positions we gained. Now, we saw Sebastian go up the inside of us, so we didn't want to cause a collision or anything, so we let him through. He slots back into P5, we drop down to P6, and we carry on as it is. But we've got the DRS again on Sebastian, so we're going to use the DRS to chase him down. Of course, he starts to pull away because he's got DRS on Daniel Ricciardo. Raikkonen's starting to form a train between the 4 of us, but it doesn't really matter because Danny Kvyat, who's still in 7th surprisingly, isn't actually really making any ground on us. So I get Lucy getting in, lose a bit more time in the process. The gap's 4 tenths of a second. Current fastest lap is a 1:36.4. Now we dive in from the pits. We were currently leading the race at the time because all the super soft runners did come in for their stop. So we're leading from Massa, Verstappen and Massa. They're on different strategies because they qualified outside the top 10 much like us. So we now go from the softs to the super softs. Now Hulkenberg stayed out. I think he stayed an extra lap. There goes Rosberg. Now, the question was for me, where is Hamilton? Why is he suddenly off Rosberg's back? And there he is there, being harassed by Sebastian Vettel. So, the overcut on the soft tyre has paid off because we've managed to jump Raikkonen and Ricciardo, and at the same time, so is Sebastian Vettel. So, Sebastian Vettel, who was pretty much behind us, jumped us. And now we skip to lap 10, and you can see here that Sebastian Vettel is getting rather impatient with Lewis Hamilton and has a fancy of a dive up the inside. But you can see Hamilton won't give the position up. He fights it. Vettel just keeps on it, funnels back into 3rd place, and we carry on our merrily way. But this was ultimately allowing us to catch up on the super soft tyres. But I found that the pace on the super soft wasn't as great as on the soft tyres, so I couldn't figure that out too much. We cut the corner a little bit there and then there, which ultimately does cost you a bit of time thanks to the track extending limitations in this game. So we cut now to lap 11 just before the last turn, because you can see here Sebastian dives up the inside again of Hamilton, gets the job done, moves up to 2nd. We get a good run as a result. and we thought we fancied a chance of trying to get Hamilton here, but then as you can see here, even with the DRS, Hamilton gets the straight line speed, uses the slipstream effect, and then fires himself back up the inside of Sebastian Vettel. And as you can see, as we get on the brakes, we're getting much closer to these guys, and then these two are having a bit of a barge fest. They're pushing each other around. I don't think Sebastian will be too happy about that because, you know, he's just got the position, and then Hamilton fights it back. Hamilton sticks to the inside at turn 3. Vettel can't fight it. We get really close up to the back of Sebastian. We fancied a chance, but then I lost the rear here through traction, and we keep P4. So really good racing at the end of the race. I really enjoyed this race, I have to be honest. As we skip now to lap 13, here comes Sebastian once again up the inside of Hamilton. Hamilton again just does not want to give this position up, just keeps pushing Vettel out. Vettel funnels back into P3, and you know, it's just getting to the point where Sebastian will be fuming over the radio that Hamilton's pushing him off the track and whatnot. Hamilton will be adamant that he's just defending his line, but you know, this was getting really exciting for me, and I was getting closer and closer every lap that these two were squabbling. As you can see, Rosberg is clearly a mile away, just running his own race, having probably having a tea and a scone, or if you're British like that. So we're cut now to the final lap. Vettel again has one more shot, goes up the inside of Hamilton. And I thought Vettel had this position held, but then Hamilton just squeezes him a little bit there, squeezes him off the track. They go side by side, but Vettel then just funnels back into position. And I thought, you know what? If Vettel can't do it, I'll give it a go. So I fire my car up the inside of Vettel. Almost fancied a chance of trying to do a double overtake, but didn't really think I'd be able to pull it off. So I stay in third. Vettel drops back as a result of me overtaking him, and now we're going to try and chase Hamilton down for that second place on the podium. So we clawed our way back from 17th on the grid to finish third, well, be in third. We do actually end up third, spoiler alert, sorry guys. So we chased down Hamilton. We're in the DRS range, but as you can see, that Mercedes power is much greater, even with DRS for our McLaren Honda power, and he just builds himself up a bit of an air gap. Sebastian didn't really fight near the end. He does get close at the end of the race, but you can see that Hamilton just doesn't want to be pestered at this point, so he pulls away a little bit. We're quite happy to stay in third at the moment, and another great result, which is also going to help us in the championship too, because we're leading the championship with 25 points. We're going to get another 15 points for this race. And as we cross around the last turn, Nico Rosberg wins the Bahrain Grand Prix. Hamilton's going to bring it home in second. And we're going to bring it home in a great third. Get in there, my son.
A great win then for the Mercedes team today. And I have to wonder, Anthony Davidson, just what set them apart from the competition here.
The difference was clearly in the strategy. You could tell they'd done a lot of work on the pit wall to really optimise each stint and get the most out of the tyres. And it highlights just how much of a team sport this really is. But credit to the driver as well, though. There's no good having a well-oiled machine behind the scenes without a talented hand on the wheel, of course.
Well, this is it. This is where they all want to be. Here come the top three then, out onto the podium after a fascinating Grand Prix.
So there you have it. Nico Rosberg wins the Bahrain Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton second. We're third. What a great result from 17th on the grid. We even got a special mention by Anthony Davidson as the driver of the day, so that was great. Fernando Alonso, unfortunately from his 10th place grid start, could only manage 13th, so no points for him. We get 15 points as a result and continue to hold the championship lead, even if it is only 7 points to Nico Rosberg. Thanks for watching, guys. Like and subscribe to the TKA Broadcasting channel, and get ready, because we'll soon be there for the Chinese Grand Prix.